Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Eye Doctor. I've been wearing glasses since I was 9 years old, nearsighted, and my eyesight deteriorated pretty steadily until my late teens. When I was 13, I went to see a new eye doctor who opened up shop in the same medical center as the dentist my mom worked for. When I was asked by the eye doctor to read the eye chart without my glasses, I told him that I couldn't see anything other than the top 2 lines. Everything else was grey blurs, which was true. He told me to just try the 3rd line. So I took a breath and guessed every single letter. He turned on the lights and said I had done pretty good for a girl. Now, I don't know how he was expecting me to react with that comment, but I have always had a tendency to give people who had made me angry the bare minimum they asked for. If you don't specifically tell me to do something, you are not going to get the results you are wanting, and that is what happened next. For everyone who has ever had to have eye exams for corrective lenses, I'm sure you are familiar with the test where you are given the same image in front of each eye, and you are supposed to tell the eye doctor when the 2 images merge. Well, he told me to let him know when the images merged. Then he started turning dials to make the images come closer together. I sat there, seething, watching the images come closer together before they disappeared rather than merged. I never told him when they disappeared. I mean, he specifically said to tell him when the 2 images became one. And I am just a teenage girl, so who am I to know that the images won't magically reappear and become one image, right? After several minutes of him clicking dials with no response from me, the doctor stopped and asked me if the images had come together yet. I, very innocently, asked him, "What images?" The images were gone. He got very exasperated and asked me what I meant the images were gone. I told him the images had disappeared before they became one image. I can still hear the sigh he made when I remember this event. He reset everything and told me to tell him the minute the images disappeared. I complied, and afterward, when I was walking out of the eye doctor's office with my mom and a referral to a specialist, my mom asked me what happened. Apparently, the eye doctor had made some comments to her about my attitude. I told her what happened, and she was not happy. However, since he was a friend of her boss, she couldn't complain directly to him. So she decided not to take me back, but instead congratulated me for how I handled the situation. The next story is called No Partial Refunds. Back in 2019, I was meeting up with a bunch of my extended family who was all attending the same wedding. As a nice gesture, I decided to pick up lunch from Panera Bread, think soups and sandwiches for everyone. So I take orders from about 15 people, pick up the order from Panera and make my way to the hotel where we will eat. After we arrive and start eating, I notice that I am missing an orange juice for my nephew. I called the Panera and explained that I never got my juice. Could I just get the juice refunded? Mind you, this is an around $120 meal, and I'm just trying to get a few dollars back for the orange juice I didn't get. They say they are not allowed and give me another number to call. So I call the corporate number and explain the situation. They say they aren't allowed to do partial refunds, only full refunds. So to clarify, I say, you won't refund the missing orange juice, but I can refund the whole order? Yes, that's correct. So I requested a full refund. 2 phone calls plus the waiting, and it was granted immediately. Thanks Panera Corporate. The last story is called Call the Tenant. We were moving to another office, so things were chaotic. Days were really hot, so when we discovered our new office didn't have an AC, we were crushed. We tried to work there anyway, but 2 members started getting dizzy and weak, so we called our boss. He was solving some problems at our previous location, but told us to go home and not come the next day, since he'd buy a new AC and install it then. We were happy with the free day off, and my boss went on his way to buy the equipment. This story is about what happened when he bought it. This new office was somewhere fancy. Our boss was a tenant in this building, and there were doctors, lawyers, dentists, and all kinds of fancy people. Everyone wore a suit and tie, and since most of the tenants were rich, the building's workers were super polite. Mostly because some tenants were rude to them, acted entitled and tried to get them fired for petty reasons. Anyway, my boss called some of his friends and said, "Hey, would you help me install an AC on my new office? I'll pay you with some beers." And they accepted. Since it was, again, really hot, my boss and their friends went there the next morning wearing tank tops, shorts and sandals. They were greeted by someone who worked there. I don't remember his name, but I call him assistant. He knew who my boss was and would follow him around, answer his questions, help him with any infos about the building or the room. You know, a good human being. He was supposed to know all tenants, so everybody liked him. But I guess he wasn't in a leadership position, because his workmates didn't seem to enjoy his presence. He didn't seem to care though. So the assistant greeted my boss and followed him to our new room. My boss said he saw the receptionist look at them with disgust because of their clothes, but didn't think much about it. What were they supposed to do? There was only one entrance. They went upstairs and started working. Eventually, my boss noticed he forgot some tools in his car. No problem. The assistant went with him, they got it and came back. At the reception, again, Mr. Receptionist looked annoyed. My boss, who I admit wasn't the most organized, noticed he forgot to buy something. Okie dokie. Assistant, always happy to help, followed him to the entrance and waited for him to buy the tools somewhere near and came back. Again, as they got in, the receptionist looked angry. For the third time, my boss had to go through the reception to do something or get something he forgot. Assistant went with him, assuring him it was okay and he had every right to come and go as he pleased. But this time the receptionist had enough. When my boss got into the building, he saw the receptionist came in his direction, fuming. But he didn't say anything to my boss. Instead, he went straight to assistant and, completely ignoring my boss, said something along the lines of, "What the hell is this? Why are those people coming and going like there's no order in this building? Why don't you do anything?" The assistant just looked at him and said calmly, "I'm sorry, but they need to make as many trips as necessary to install their new AC today, so that tomorrow the team can work without any interruption or discomfort." "I don't care," said the receptionist. "Those people are annoying our staff, our guests and our tenants. This building is no place for them. If you don't stop this mess right now, I'm gonna call the tenant and tell them you are allowing such people in his new office." I think you can guess what happened next. According to my boss, the assistant's face lit up and he smiled. "Oh, really? Please do. You can talk to the tenant right now if you'd like." And with that he turned to my boss, who just looked at him with an innocent, "Yes, how can I help you" face. My boss said that the receptionist's face went white. He tried to say something but couldn't pick the words, so he just left in a hurry. My boss and the assistant laughed a while about it and went back to the office. The AC got installed and we worked the next day with ease. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and would like to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to support me even further, why don't you check out the channel membership? I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.